Trump moves to prepare Guantanamo Bay for 30,000 criminal illegal aliens. Illegal immigration has been a hotly debated issue in the United States for decades. Former President Donald Trump's administration took aggressive steps to address it, with one of the most controversial proposals being the preparation of Guantanamo Bay to house 30,000 individuals identified as criminal illegal aliens. This move has sparked extensive debate regarding its implications for national security, human rights, and immigration policies. Let's break down this complex issue to understand its causes, execution, and potential consequences. In a bold and controversial step, the Trump administration proposed utilizing the U.S. naval station at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, as a detention facility for up to 30,000 individuals described as criminal illegal aliens. Historically associated with the detention of terrorism suspects, Guantanamo Bay was chosen due to its secure infrastructure and distance from the U.S. mainland. The administration argued that this offshore facility could mitigate logistical challenges while ensuring enhanced security for detainees. The plan targeted undocumented migrants with criminal records, positioning the measure as a means to protect American citizens and enforce immigration laws. However, the move raised immediate concerns over its ethical, legal, and financial dimensions. One of the main justifications provided by the Trump administration was the growing concern over illegal immigration, often described as a threat to national security. The policy primarily aimed to address frustrations about weak border controls and the misconception of porous immigration systems enabling crime. Guantanamo Bay's suitability arose from its existing infrastructure, originally built to house terrorism suspects after 9/11s. This facility boasts high security and the capacity for large-scale detentions. By taking this step, the administration portrayed itself as resolute in enforcing immigration laws and eliminating perceived security vulnerabilities. At its core, this policy sought to deter illegal entry into the United States while sending a message that criminal actions among undocumented individuals would not be tolerated. Supporters of the initiative argue that it was a necessary step to fix inefficiencies in the immigration and border control systems. Many conservatives believe that housing criminal undocumented individuals in Guantanamo Bay would hold them accountable for their actions while discouraging future illegal immigration. This proposal was seen by proponents as an assertive measure to restore public confidence in the government's ability to enforce immigration laws. In this view, the use of Guantanamo Bay illustrated the administration's commitment to tackling illegal immigration through practical, albeit unconventional, measures. Supporters also felt that such a facility would help relieve the burden placed on domestic detention facilities by providing additional capacity in a secure location. In their opinion, stronger enforcement would uphold law and order within the nation, particularly for repeat offenders. Despite the support, the proposal faced significant backlash from various quarters. Critics raised ethical and human rights concerns associated with the use of Guantanamo Bay as a detention facility for civilians, a site previously criticized for alleged human rights violations in its handling of terrorism suspects. One major concern was the treatment of individuals detained under this policy. Would basic standards of humane treatment and due process be upheld? Human rights groups and activists have long opposed the use of Guantanamo Bay, arguing that its reputation as a place of questionable detention practices could tarnish the U.S. global image as a nation committed to justice. There were also financial implications to consider. Guantanamo Bay is one of the costliest detention facilities in the world to maintain. Critics questioned whether using this location would add to taxpayers' burden without delivering significant results in combating immigration challenges. Lastly, opponents viewed this move as a dangerous precedent for militarizing immigration policy. Turning to a facility historically associated with national security risks to detain civilians fueled concerns over the erosion of civil liberties and legal protections due to national security claims. The use of Guantanamo Bay for mass detention introduces significant questions about how immigration enforcement is conducted in the United States. Legally, the policy could challenge established norms around due process and the treatment of detainees under U.S. and international law. Furthermore, the political implications are equally critical. Immigration has long been a polarizing issue, and such drastic measures amplify both public frustration and division. This proposal sparked concerns about whether it addressed the root causes of immigration issues or unnecessarily targeted vulnerable populations. The social impact on immigrant communities was profound. Many feared the policy would lead to further stigmatization and discrimination against undocumented individuals, most of whom do not have criminal records. It raised difficult questions about where the line between enforcement and compassion lies. On a global level, the proposal sent a strong message to the international community about the United States' stance on immigration. Critics claimed that such an approach contradicted the U.S. long-held values of justice and human rights. Nations around the world track U.S. immigration policies as they often inspire or set examples for similar approaches elsewhere. If implemented, the policy risked souring relations with countries affected by migration. Nations in Central America and beyond depend heavily on cooperation with the United States to address migration challenges. Critics worried that this move, seen as punitive and isolationist, would hamper collaborative efforts on global migration issues. Moreover, from a diplomatic standpoint, the policy raised concerns about the U.S. commitment to international human rights agreements. Skeptics argued it could undermine the country's moral authority in advocating against human rights violations abroad. This proposal leaves the public and policymakers grappling with difficult questions. Is the militarization of immigration control justified in safeguarding national security? How does this approach align with the values and ideals of a democratic society rooted in freedom and human rights? Another key concern revolves around legal protections for detainees. Would they have access to legal counsel and an opportunity to appeal, or would they face prolonged detention without trial, as many in Guantanamo previously did? These unresolved issues amplified fears of government overreach. Furthermore, logistical challenges like operational costs, resource allocation, and transparency in managing such a facility raised skepticism about its feasibility. Without clear goals, the policy risked being seen as reactive rather than well-planned. The Trump administration's proposal to prepare Guantanamo Bay for detaining 30,000 criminal illegal aliens stands at the intersection of immigration reform, national security, and human rights debates. On one hand, it sought to address legitimate concerns about illegal immigration and border enforcement. On the other hand, it sparked intense criticism for its ethical, legal, and societal implications. This controversial move underscores the need for a balanced, practical, and humane approach to immigration reform. As the U.S. continues to grapple with immigration challenges, the question remains, should security measures justify compromising human rights and democratic principles? Ultimately, this proposal represents a flashpoint in the broader discussion on immigration policy, a reminder of the delicate balancing act required to uphold national security while honoring the country's commitment to justice and human dignity. As these debates unfold, public scrutiny and informed dialogue will be essential in shaping the future direction of immigration policies in the United States. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content.